So I just want to ask, like, if you want to suggest some study materials or some websites, your favorite websites that can help upcoming students or artists.
Okay. So first of all, there is this book called Animator Survival Kit for animators. What you can learn from Animator Survival Kit, I would say, is the breakdowns pretty easily. Like Richard Williams is a genius. What he did was he found out a way to formulate. He brought in formulas to how a walk cycle is supposed to be, how an animal walks, how this thing and all that stuff happens. So to understand how the body works, to understand why it works the way it works, Richard Williams' book is really awesome.
Yeah.
But if you want to learn more of an artistic side, there is this book called Animation Crash Course by Eric Goldberg.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That guy. He's an awesome. I think I said the name right. Yeah, Eric Goldberg. Yeah. So if I said wrong, I'm sorry. All right. It's been a while. So his book is really nice on how to initiate acting, how to think about acting while you're doing something, while you're doing an animation, how to prepare for an acting, right? That, and he also really nicely breaks down the X sheet and all for animators, which is 2D principle, but even for 3D animators that's useful for planning out your work. If you want to learn, like really nice animation, also learn about animal behaviors and stuff like that. There is Aaron Blaze's site. It's called creatureartteacher.com. All right. I'm a huge fan of Aaron Blaze's work. I bought a lot of courses from him. Basically, you must have seen my lion animation that I've done on LinkedIn as well. I put it. So the lion walk, run and trot. So that is basically a 2D guy teaching me in 2D, and I took the principles from him, and I saw references, and I got that lion done, and I got so much appreciation. It got shared by character animation community. They shared it on LinkedIn and Instagram and everywhere. So it was really good. Just one class from that person, and just one recorded lecture video from him. So yeah, creatureartteacher.com. Please don't miss it. He also has, right now on COVID-19 times, he's actually selling it out, one by one in $1 and all.
Oh,
like
amazing.
75 rupees, you get like a video lecture from someone who's worked 25 years in Disney. He's actually the director of Brother Bear and a few other movies from Disney.
Okay.
So legendary guy, alright, a very fun guy to learn from. So that person is there, and I would say that there is, if you want cost efficient, at the same time value for money, to learn animation from somewhere, there is Native Puppets. It's Indian, and it's also not that expensive as other online schools, but I can personally vouch that they have mentors who are a minimum of 10 years or 8 years of experience in the industry. Right, depending on what sort of level you take up.
Yeah. I know you are also teaching some kind of animation lessons, and also
it's not like a personal advertisement, but it's basically that I started working with them because I saw how much of effort they put in their course, how much of effort they
so I would really suggest for the people who is watching this video, like they can contact you through LinkedIn and take your lessons, at least if they are afraid to take some other website for their learning. They can contact you and they can learn from you, at least, because you have a good experience and you can even teach them well. So we don't have to I'm not suggesting you any study materials on favorite websites. The easy way for you is to approach Vignesh after this session. Okay. So
there is also this guy named George Vigara, right? He's an animator who's worked on Hotel Transylvania, on Despicable Me and all that stuff. So his animation style is really snappy, and he actually developed a rig called Toy Rig. If you see, there's actually a lot of it roaming around in the market as of now. There's this really thin guy with the pink hair and does a lot of cartoony stuff. So a lot of that is moving around in the market. So his work is I took up one of his study material as well, and it really opened up some areas where I was lacking, like exaggeration of the poses, how to give how to give a smear frame, all that stuff. He's really good at it, because if he's worked in Hotel Transylvania, obviously he has that just got down, like snappy animation, all that stuff. So if you want to learn something very snappy, cartoony type of animation, George Vigera, animawarrior.com is where you need to go. Okay, it's ANIMA, animawarriors.com. Right. So go there, check it out. This is something that is on top of my head, and if you want a comprehensive list later on, maybe I can send to Manooj. He can put it up in his link description.
Yeah, also
right?
I'll do it.
I can put it up in the video description.
Yeah, and also anyone can contact you through LinkedIn and get advice.
Yes, Vignesh, Natarajan in LinkedIn. I will be looking at elephants like this.
Okay. So my next question is what all are the automation happening in the animation industry, like mainstream mocap improvements? So do you think automation kills human jobs? I usually ask these questions to every person who interviews. Mostly I interview people from visual effects field, and we have a lot of automated tools coming up for the visual effects stream. So I just want to know is there any mainstream improvements in automation field in animation industry, and do you think automation kills human jobs in future? This will be
by automation killing human jobs, I would say that will be more towards the rendering department.
Oh, okay.
Because because the render machines and the rendering softwares are becoming so efficient that you need minimum to minimum manpower nowadays to to operate and render. Because I remember when I started my career, there'll be this at night there'll be this 25-30 people coming up, right? On each floor there'll be 5 people putting renders in all systems and all that stuff manually, right?
Okay.
And I see now there are basically just 4 people sitting in one row, and at night they just everything is controlled by a single system, right? So they just put in renders like that, everything is arranged and already submitted and all that. So automation might take furthermore jobs from people who are in rendering, and people who are basically say for example, there is a lot of modeling. There's a lot of AI involvement is happening in modeling, right? Autodesk itself has come up with I forgot the name actually. So what they do is they take pictures of something 360 degree, right? And what it does is the Autodesk automatically builds a model around it and puts in the texture as well.
Oh,
right. And
amazing.
gives you and also automatically calculates the light, from which direction the light was coming, and gives you a finally fully almost rendered completed scene.
Oh god.
From then onwards, all you have to do is go ahead, tweak the geometry, and give the UV a nice give a UV nice glow, and then add lighting yourself, and it's pretty much done. So all of this architectural small things that you want to do, right? For example 3D scanning, basically of a rock or something like that.
Yeah,
so
the lidars.
Hyper realistic rocks and hyper realistic wood pieces and statues and all that stuff. Those things are being being done in 3D scans. Alright, even though it's in a developmental stage as of now, as far as I know, I'm not a very big expert in modeling department, but as far as I have read and seen videos, it's becoming more and more, people are evolving in it more and more. The software is evolving really fast and at a very at alarmingly fast rate actually. So good news for people, bad news also for people, because if you have a big company and you want to save some money, then probably it will help you out. But then again, if you want to build, say for example, if you want say Hampi, right? There's a lot of architectural ruins in Hampi, right? So if you want to take that stone chariot, you want to build it, right? So what happens is that you will have to personally go to, like Humpty, take the photographs at the time you basically need it, or or you have to scour the internet for the photos and the right angles, right, so that the system can actually piece it up and build. So you will be putting in a lot of manpower in that area.
Okay.
All right. And if you think that it's easier for people to just hire a few modelers who can just take a look at the photos and do the texturing and lighting and all. So it all depends on cost efficiency. As of now, it is too cost intensive. So maybe in future, I don't know. But as far as animation is concerned, I think the mocap cleanup area, there are a lot of artificial intelligence work going on over there. That sliding of the feet, the shivering of the character, and all that stuff, which usually comes with a mocap, right, is now being solved with the help of an artificial intelligence solver. Right, and they've actually come up with designs that they want to. So if in animation you want to make a character sit, right, so you have to make sure that the chair is modeled exactly how it was in the real life, or you have to adjust the animation of the model so that it sits on the chair or whatever. So what recently they're developing is that they're developing track points for body parts and track points in the chair. So what they do is they match the track points to the size of the chair. So no matter what the size, breadth, length, and depth of the chair, whatever it is, the character will sit with the same animation on each chair.
Oh.
Even though one is higher than the other, one is lower than the other, and all that. One is fatter, one is fluffier, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the animation can be reused because of that tracking points. So this type of thing is like new, and this type of thing is coming up. So a lot of research is being put on the manual job that is happening, because if you go into, say, Rockstar, if you go into Ubisoft or any other company which uses mocap intensively, all right, you will find that they use a lot of manpower. I'm sorry, manpower is now outdated. A big workforce for making that thing happen, for just fixing the intersections, penetrations, the shakiness of the leg, and the shakiness of the character or character's motion capture. And at the same time animate fingers and all, because fingers and all doesn't usually come in motion capture. Usually it doesn't. So all of that stuff is, if that gets automated, then it's gonna be a large workforce they'll have to let go, and a large workforce will become obsolete basically. So it's still in early stages. I mean, we cannot predict anything, and we really don't know what the cost of it is going to be in a large scale. But again, same thing. But if it does comes in, then will happen. But as far as animation is concerned, when like cartoony animations and like animations which have emotions and all that stuff, it's very hard to mimic. It really isn't going anywhere for
automation
at least the next 25 years.
Even I recently I heard there is an app like in iPhone which copies our facial animation and just lively just copies that animation into like a 3D character.
Yes. So what you can do with that is basically simply then again it goes back to the motion capture only. So if that is the case, if the motion capture animator cannot come to studio, right? So with the help of this sort of a technology, he or she can probably or they can probably just send their facial animation via this phone app or something, and then the animators can work on it and tweak it and make it better. So I think that will help out during this pandemic situation. And if you're working on a low budget series where you don't have a time to too much time to like put into facial and all that stuff, or maybe it's just a background character or something like that. So what you do is you can just record your facial in that, and then like transfer it back to the rig and call it a day. Right?
Things are improving day by day.
Yes, and who knows? Probably they might be able to like do shape corrections also in that automatic shape correction. But then again, that is the problem with automatic, right? It will calculate the logical response. But cartoon animations is all basically very illogical, presented in a very logical way, right? So when that is concerned, I think
that is the thing. Like one of my speaker told like creativity is the area where automation can't reach, or
yes, absolutely.
So that's the thing which you are telling. So let's move to the second last question. Like, what is your dream regarding the animation industry in India? I know this is a big question for you to answer. Like, there will be a lot of hopes for you. So you can share anything like, what is your dream? It would be useful.
My first dream as of now, which I want it to be realized, is that quality education for everyone. Availability of quality, affordable quality education for students, who want to learn this. Awareness for students. All right. So this is what I want, because if we have to change this, we have to start from the basics. I see freshers joining in. They have so much potential, but they've been taught such an outdated method of doing stuff that that it takes them almost a year to settle into the production. Right? And many of them cannot cut it in that much time. And what happens is that they are sent home, and they think that they are bad animators. No, you are not. You've been dealt a bad hand. Right? I just want to see everyone, get a quality education. Right? That is something that is a dream of mine in animation industry. Right? And once that will happen, I'm pretty sure that things will start falling into places. Right? Like people say that education solves a lot of problems, right? So skilled workforce, people who know what they're doing, people who are studying relevant information to the industry, who are being updated, when they will start coming into the workforce, right? All these people who are outdated, right? Who are probably in a position where they are, in a management, or where they are in a supervisory position, they will have to update or get out.
Of course,
Yeah. So once you start giving quality education to kids, right, who are entering the industry, right, and proper knowledge about the industry, how the industry is currently working, and what they have to do to change the industry, I'm pretty sure they will do it, all right. And we, as in the seniors, will have to constantly learn and try to outgrow them, or try to outdo ourselves, because those guys are coming in a skilled, state. Alright, so this is one of my biggest dreams in an animation, is to give quality education, to provide quality education to people, to kids who actually deserve it, who are actually willing to put in the effort. If you're lazy, then no matter what I give you, you won't do anything good, alright. But if you're not, if you actually want to do something in your life, alright, but the education is the limiting factor, that's the saddest part of it all. And we don't pay anything of a small amount actually, if we see that there's nothing less than 2 lakh rupees courses available out there, right, for all of these prevailing setups for learning animation, right? There is no cheap course available which gives you a quality education, all right? And there's not, and even being this expensive also, there's not much scope or much difference in the quality of education that's going on. That is what bothers me a lot. Right?
Understood.
And I want that to change. Right? And one of the main reasons is that people are not ready to pay teachers. Right? Because because they would rather find someone who's recently graduated, give him a job for 10,000 or 15,000 maximum. Alright, and tell him that you're near your hometown, you know this place, you've studied here, teach people, alright? And obviously they'll be grateful to get a job, but then again, the other students who are learning this, they actually want to go into industry, alright? 99% of the workforce that comes into play, the students who come into play, they actually want to join the workforce. They actually want to do something. They want to make their own films. They want to make kick-ass animation. They want to grow the ladder. So these type of things. One this is one of my major concerns, that we need to provide quality education for the amount we are charging, the type of education we are providing. The students are getting is really, man, sad. It's really sad, and I really want to see that changed. And the other thing that I want from the industry is basically a regularized work hour, man. I am saying that this is a show business. The show must go on. So no matter what happens, we have to spend some more time in it. We have to sacrifice some of our health. We have to sacrifice some of our family time, and all of that stuff in the name of creativity and all. Everything is fine in good sport. But when when it is then it's taken up as an advantage, and if it becomes an industry norm, that is bad. You know,
Yeah, got
like
it.
the current state of business that like all the Wall Street people and everybody who's like all the this big giant business is basically shareholder profit maximization. All right, that was proposed in 1970s.
Okay.
Right, and then it got vastly implemented in 1980s and very well flourished in 1990s. All right.
Yeah.
So businesses grew like phenomenally. People got rich. Equity got better and all that stuff. But then after that, it got outdated. Right?
Yeah.
This method is no longer like sustainable, but it's still going on. So the same thing is happening in our industry as well. When the industry started, I mean, we are in India. We're relatively a very young industry actually.
Yeah.
All right. But it also not that young that like we have to like sacrifice everything just for the work that we're doing. I mean, work-life balance is something that I would like to see in our industry.
Of course.
Especially in the service sector industry, right?
Yeah, of
where
course.
people are servicing for companies from abroad.
Yeah.
Right? And that again falls back to the education, because if we can produce quality workforce, right, then we will get projects which demands more quality and which will give us more time, to get that work done properly. All right. So right now, I mean, am I making any sense? Because the less skilled the workforce is, all right, the less skilled job we will get, all right, and the less skilled job that we get, the less we will be paid, and to make more profit, what people do is squeeze the time. Right? There's only two ways to earn from one particular budget. Either you tell them to raise the budget, that is not going to happen. Right? You tell them to compromise on quality, that's not going to happen. So what can happen is squeezing the timeline. Right?
Yeah.
And that is what puts the pressure on the people.
Yeah,
and
of
again,
course.
brings us back to the question where people quit because they're overworked, because they've exerted, right? Their family life is in ruins, right?
Yeah.
And that is really impacting in a bad way for a long term for this industry.
Yeah, got it.
So introduction of empathy into our field will be very, very appreciable. And people think that if you give people the luxury of leaves or if you give them basic sometimes in some companies I've seen it's really worse, like basic human decency, if you give them, they'll probably stop performing. It's actually time and time studies have proven again that is actually wrong. You give them respect, you give them their space, you give them their target, and 99% will achieve their target. At least 95% will achieve their. The 5% you can strictly deal with, or you can tell them please go ahead and quit.
Yeah, got it.
We'll find someone else. And if someone is not performing, it's always the stick. There's no carrot involved. If someone does something wrong, they immediately they come to punish. Right? But if someone's doing something good, they're not being appreciated. Or even if someone was doing good till now and is not performing for say past quarter or something, so nobody calls them in and asks you've been consistently performing poorly. Tell me what is bothering you. What is wrong with you? Right? What is happening? Because that person might that it's his or her child might be sick. Right? They might be facing marital issues. Right? They might be facing issues that of financial crisis, right? Or some sort of father is sick, mother is sick. So we don't know their what they're going through, what they're going on with. So what's their status? We don't know that. What's their mental status? And we just we want results, and that doesn't happen. And being a creative industry, that is supposed to be a big no-no. How can you be creative? You're not pencil pushers. We are creative people. We have to come up with the acting choices. We have to come up with we have to tackle software problems every day. Sometimes our systems are outdated, right? The hardware is outdated, right? The company doesn't have the budget to upgrade the hardware, but the client wants a very a very awesome quality. Alright, for that, what we have to do, we'll have to work slow. That means we have what we can finish with a good system in say 8 hours, we'll have to do it in probably 10 or 11 hours. Alright, so that impacts our life badly. Right. So again, everything comes back to if the workforce gets skilled, if they become informed well. Alright, if we produce quality students, if we give quality education to the quality workforce we produce, then I am pretty sure that everything will change.
Beautiful.
So these are the things that I want to change.
Yeah,
but me,
awesome.
Everything I pinpointed it. to the point that everything starts with education.
Yeah, I really like this points because we can sum up it like quality workforce from quality education.
Yeah.
So it's like I want to ask one question, like if I want to get into animation industry, do I need to specialize in one thing? Like if I want to become an animator, I don't have to study modeling, rigging, all those kind of things. I just want to ask, like, I need to specialize in animation itself, or do I need to learn the other stuff? Because most of the institutes provides the complete package, and they are charging money for that. So if I want to become an animator, why? I mean, I just want to ask, like, is there any need for me to study modeling, rigging, or some kind of those things?
Absolutely, it's a very valid question. A lot of people go through this on their daily life. I did all the courses. All right, I did modeling, texturing, rigging, lighting, effects, everything, rendering, everything I did. Some of it I really didn't like. I never liked texturing and lighting. I used to sleep in those classes, and my teacher would be like, either you sit in the last bench or you concentrate on what I'm teaching you. You don't sleep on the first bench, because he knew that I was very good at animation and rigging, right? But he didn't want me to sleep in his class, so it was very boring for me. But I'm glad that I learned everything, because let me tell you what, my expertise is in 3D animation, right? So if you're a 2D animator, you have to start with drawing, right? There's no other way, because that's what you're in. You will have to study proportions, you have to study principles of animations, everything you have to do, right? So that is something totally different. So let's talk about 3D, right? So when it comes to 3D, if you only know animation, right, your scope of growth just stops there.
Oh, okay.
And also that the reason that I was really good at rigging at that point in time, I'm pretty sure that rigging has evolved a lot right now. I am not very up to date, but I can understand like what is going on this rig, right? So if some rigger tries to fool me or try to pull one over me saying that it is not possible in rigging, all right, someone who hasn't studied rigging will accept it and go back to his workstation and will work on animation for say more longer than he actually has to, right? But if I know rigging, all right, and I go back and tell him, no, I know this is possible. You have to use ribbon spine here, or you have to use IKFK, blend over here, or you have to use node-based hierarchy over here instead of using expressions. This is possible. Right? So once I say those type of things to them, they will also know that, oh shit, okay, this guy knows his stuff, right? I cannot fool him, right? That is one thing, that is one advantage. The other advantage is that if you are, tomorrow, basically everybody thinking is that a job is one thing, but what we are basically, we are filmmakers, right? That's what we are. We contribute in filmmaking, right? That's one part of what we do. So tomorrow, if you have a good story in your mind, all right, you have people who can help you with storyboarding. You have people who are, publishers who can actually, get your stories out. You have platforms, all right. For example, let's say I have connection with somebody in Netflix, okay. So that person has agreed that, okay, dude, you're a good friend of mine. I know your talents. I know your animation is awesome, all right. If you are to propose me something, right? I love the story that you've written down. If you are to bring me a fully committed output, I will talk to my supervisors and executives, and I will, say that, okay, maybe we can create this. So when you will start to become a filmmaker, right? You also not just need to have a vision of what your film looks like. You also need to have the technical skills to, know what is going on. All right. Yeah. Again, to the same point that nobody fools you. Right? Nobody can say that this is not possible, right? And there are certain things which is not possible within your budget, probably, right? But to say that this is not possible is saying you don't know it, right? You don't know how to do it. Just don't say that it's not possible towards me, because I can do it. If I had the time, I will do it. Right? That's what I tell. All my all my rigging companions and all that stuff. And they are like, this is not possible. And I was like, you want me to do it? I'm like, the moment I say you want me to do it, they kind of step back, like, no, okay, this guy is fully confident on what he knows. And similarly, FX people try to pull one over on us. All right, they're like, oh, this is not possible in FX. You do one thing, you animate this entirely for us. All right, and then we'll put effects in it. We cannot add, a trail end to this one because you only animated the snake head part, not the tail part. And then you will be like, no, that's not how it works. You reduce the lifespan, all right? You make the, you reduce the count, reduce the lifespan, and obviously it will trail off, all right? So that person this actually happened, and that person was like, oh, how do you know that? And I was like, I know it because I still remember it, and I know it, and I'm thankful for that I studied FX when I was studying, right? I took the whole package. So it also depends on your budget, but I would say if budget is the constraint, then at least learn the adjacent, department. For example, if you're working, in animation, so animation and rigging go hand in hand, right?
Okay.
So a good animator needs to know a bit of rigging, all right, and a good rigger needs to know a bit of animation. This goes hand in hand; it cannot be avoided. Right. So what happens is that's when you can understand each other's perspective, right? So what happens is that if you have both of them, you're rigging and animation knowledge, all right, you can come up with your own creative solutions for any sort of obstacles that you land on, right? So for example, the same is with the lighting and compositing, same is with the modeling and texturing, all right, and so on and so forth. Probably FX and compositing, so things like that. So it's, from my point of view, it's better to learn all of it. If not, at least the adjacent one, which is immediately related to your department, you should learn that.
Okay, cool. So it's like most of the institutes or educational, mainly educational institutes provides courses with like tons of syllabus, like animation, modeling, rendering. Even students learn studio animation, editing, graphic designing, and all those kind of things, and that's why they're charging like 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs for one course. So and most of the people are not using those multi skills in their work. If I'm an animator, I'm just doing animation. So I just want to know, like, specialization is needed, or do I need to learn something else? So your simple answer is like, we have to learn adjacent courses to that, right? Yeah.
It's better to always be a generalist, because for example, say like, let's say if I'm not finding, if it's hard for me to get a job in animation nowadays, right? So what I can do is I can probably go back to rigging. I might not be as good as it is, but in some place where there's urgent requirement for rigging, they will obviously.
That's really good.
So, or if you're going to freelance, right? So if in freelance, you get a work of rigging plus animation, so you get dual money. Or if you didn't know rigging, you had the time to do rigging, but if you didn't know rigging, you are actually throwing away that money. Right? Got it. So if you can also light and texture very well, because because some of the nodes that's used in lighting and texturing are also used in rigging actually. So
it's better to be multi-talented.
Exactly. The age of specialization is gone. The age of being a specialist is gone, I would say.
Got it.
At least till how I think about it.
Got it. So I just want to ask, like, is there any recommendations for movies that everyone should watch, for at least for the students who wants to enter into the animation industry? It can be your personal like choices,
Watch everything. Don't let go of anything.
Simple.
Seriously, because what happens is that the more you limit yourself to a certain type of genre of movie or something, the more the less your animation grows. The stagnant your animation perspective becomes. So if you watched Tom and Jerry in your life, go watch Ed and Eddie also. Ed and Eddie was the last cartoon to be made totally hand drawn, right? Watch Ed and Eddie, all right? Watch something like Spider-Verse. It's totally different, all right? Watch Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. That's one of my favorite movies, all right? Watch fairy tale movie, just for the perspective of how they took a fairy tale and how they actually made it for kids. Because if you look at the Grimm brothers, actual fairy tales and all, it's really dark. Like for example, if you take a look at Sleeping Beauty, right? In Sleeping Beauty, what we see in movie is that the Prince Charming comes in, kisses her, and she wakes up, right? But that's actually not what happens in that book. It's actually he comes and he basically assaults her, sexually assaults her. She has a kid while she's in a coma and all that stuff. So those were actually cautionary tales.
Okay.
Right. So Disney then adapted it for kid friendly, right? And now once we say Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, everybody thinks of that nice fairy tale where a good wins over evil and all that stuff, right? So see how they actually, like transform that evil story into, like a gruesome story into like a beautiful fairy tale. So watch everything, alright? Don't just stick yourself to main people like Disney or DreamWorks or Sony animation pictures. Go outside of your, like country also. There are so many Russian movies that comes out which are really nice. There's so many French movies that come out which are really nice.
Even we have Japanese, I guess. Yeah,
Japanese movie. Take a look at Miyazaki's work. Okay?
Yeah.
Some of Miyazaki's work are really, like you're like, what the hell is going on in this movie? But it's such a visual treat. The way he animates kids, the way they animate, like people's day-to-day movements, right? You feel like that person is actually alive. The thing is actually happening in front of you, right?
Yeah.
So all of that is a plus, right? So you do not. I would say if you ask watch movie to want, I would say watch whatever you want, but do not limit yourself to a certain genre. That's the worst thing you can do to kill your like, the creativity. Like
Yeah, got it.
Like, that will ensure that it will create your it will narrow down your perspective.
Yeah, got it, man. So like we have discussed all the 10 questions. Now I have an additional question now. Like
Yes.
I have got a lot of insights from you, so I have this question in my mind and I want to ask, like, if I have a story in mind, like a short story for making a short film, especially an animated short film, so where should I start? Like there should be any steps should I should follow to make that, or you can guide on that.
Yeah, so first thing you need is a basic concept, right? Which we call as, like the pitch, right? You just, for example, if you boil down, say, Avatar in a story, is that humans are capable of traveling to space, all right? They find a primitive planet, and they're trying to exploit it, and they divide into two groups, all right? And the war between the group is the story. That's it. That's the storyline. Then comes in, like the characters, all right? Then comes in your screenplay, right? So when all of this is set, all right? So what you do is, once your character is set, you start to character design, all right? So without character design, the story cannot move forward. So once your character design is fixed, all right, what happens is that you send it to modeling department and rigging department and so on, all right? That stuff will start happening parallelly. At the same time, you can start doing storyboard. Right?
Okay.
First you do thumbnailing, alright, that is visual impressions basically, like whatever you are thinking of the story, just those words will convert into pictures, scribbles, alright?
Okay.
No details, nothing, only you can understand what is going on, alright?
Okay.
Then you move on to storyboard stage, where anybody looks at the storyboard understands what's going on in the story, right?
Yeah.
So that can go. That is where camera angle is set. That is where the lens is set. That is where the dialogues are written in the bottom. All right. That's where the expressions are drawn and everything and so on and so forth. It's the more detail you go, the more better. So depends on the budget all the time. So after that, you move on to previous stage, right, or layout stage. That's what we call it. You convert all that 2D thing into 3D. Because by the time your model and your rig will be ready, right? So you can probably, if you're doing it in Blender, take it to Blender, all right, put a camera, start visualizing, all right, build a environment, all right, and then put your characters over there, and all that stuff. And then if you are not comfortable with animating, hire an animator who can do that for you, ask a friend or something like that. And what happens is that once you get that previous stage rolling, right, people will start to understand how this movie will look like, right? So once they see the layout, okay, this character is going to be standing here, emotional impact is coming over here, and because of this camera he feels powerful, because of this camera he feels powerless, and this and that and so on and so forth, right? So basically telling the stories in a few poses and sliding animation and camera, right? The camera should be really good.
Okay.
So this is what the layout stage comes in, all right? After that, you build on, then there's animation stages go on, like blocking, there's blocking plus, there's line, there's polish and all that stuff, all right? And then the process of how the 3D pipeline works in. But if you want to make a short film, I think the more effort should be on the story side, because we've seen that, we see this webcomics and all, right, which have like minimalistic stick drawing and all that stuff, right? If you take a look at Misfit Comics, if you take a look at, Chris Solbeck, all right, all those people who are, Instagram comic people, they have a very minimalistic drawing style. But their content is so nice that people come to them again and again. So I think the main reason is in the content. So that is what the market is all about as of now. Right? So I think the content is more important. So
Got
if
it.
you want to make a 3D, and there are like, for example, if you don't want to pay even a single dime to any software company, there is, if you want to do your storyboarding, you can do it in Blender, you can do it in Krita, alright, you can do it in GIMP, alright, all of these are free softwares. And if you move on, you can probably do this thing in what do you call your animation in Blender, alright, and then compositing also in Blender.
Yeah.
And you can also do like, for example, I don't know, maybe of certain
compositing kind of things.
Compositing guys. So compositing software.
Basically anyone can do a short film now using these free applications.
Exactly.
If you have a good content.
Yes.
Right.
So the main thing is now content. The technical part of it is now sorted.
Yeah, right? Got it.
But the intellectual part of it is what we are we have to concentrate on.
I know a lot of students or a lot of people, even someone who is working in the industry for the 10 years, have some short stories in their mind, and they are not finding any time to make those things because of the software pricing or any those kind of circumstances. So now we have a lot of free tools. Even Blender gives a good kind of result. So anyone can make use of this time, or at least this pandemic time, free time, and invest some time on making those ideas into this kind of animated movies. So that's
also,
all about this.
It's like you don't have to do it all on your own also. Because collaboration is a thing nowadays. It's possible because first you had to know some guy who knew some guy. Now you just have to put, hey, I'm doing this short film. Somebody wants to collab. It is not money based or something, but
passion.
I'll credit you or something like that in this thing. So let's collab and do something. Like we are collabing. You're not paying me anything. I'm not paying you anything. But then we are collaboration. Because we want to put something out there in the world. Right?
Got it.
So same thing, you can also ask, if you don't know animation, then ask animators, alright? I want like 3 animators to work on the short film I'm working on. People please DM me or, give me your phone number, I'll have a chat with you. Have a Zoom call with them, explain what the storyline is, alright? And then, if they're interested, they'll jump in.
Got it.
Tell them beforehand that there's not going to be any monetary value, maybe later in future, but as of now, there's nothing. So we're basically working for free. I'm also doing the same thing. So let's kind of put our names together and bring something out to the world. Or if you have some money you can pay them, then please pay them. So so we don't have to do everything ourselves also. There are people who can also do it for you. Certain chunks of it.
Yeah, it's better to do collab because we can share a lot of ideas and make things work easier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't have to sit with all that work with you, right? You don't have to wait for one stage to move on to the next. Somebody will be doing texturing, somebody will be doing animation, somebody will be fixing rigs. Alright, so all of that stuff, and you can probably concentrate on the direction and probably concentrate on, how the movie is moving on, or probably buy a publisher, get a publisher for yourself, work on that. Get someone who can, probably stream it somewhere, or probably, advertise you, something like that.
Yeah. Got it, man. Thanks, man. We have shared a lot of insights here, which is really useful for my subscribers or anyone who is watching this video. So I would like to know, is there any final statements or comments from you?
First of all, thank you very much for doing this with me. You personally, got hold of me on LinkedIn. And we had a chat, and we were supposed to do it long back, but I was busy, so you kept your cool. You also shifted your timeline for me. Thank you so much. This has been very, very let's say
my pleasure, man.
Dream, talking to you.
My pleasure.
Right, and at the same time, I wish you all the best and your YouTube channel, that you grow, you grow exponentially to a point where you don't have to worry about income. I believe that YouTube should pay you, alright, and you should get a lot of people who are willing to learn from you, alright. And I would like to do some shameless promotion over here, self promotion. So,
you can.
So I also have a YouTube channel. I wouldn't call it a channel as per se, because I just keep on inconsistently posting it. I'm not very consistent on that, so I need to be, after maybe, I talk to Manooj, or maybe I'll get some of his vibes and I'll start doing
sure.
So it's Vignesh Natarajan. That's it. That's the YouTube channel name. It'll have a black and white photo of me looking back, trying to be candid. I have an Instagram page, which is, I don't put any of my personal photos or something like that. I only put my artworks and my animations over there. So feel free to go and check it out. It's called The Inconsistent Artist.
Okay. Nice.
Like I am, I just named it like that. I am an inconsistent artist. So moving on is if you want to contact me, if you want to talk to me, if you want to share your experiences, or just connect with me in general, I am always available on LinkedIn 24/7, other than the times I'm sleeping. So I'm actually usually always active on LinkedIn. I'll always get the notification from LinkedIn. So Vignesh Natarajan, that's the name. Alright, the photo will be of me, exclaiming at elephants, like that. I love elephants, so
we will add that. We will add all the details in the description also.
Yes, I'll send you those details. You can add that. And thank you again, Manooj, and wonderful questions. I mean, it's not just that you have a channel, you're talking to people. It's that the questions were engaging. Like, it made me talk for so long. The questions were really engaging. Some of the things I wanted to get it out in the public, I can use your channel to get it out. Right?
Yeah, so, I make these questions like these all are the things which I want to ask for to a professional. So I'm just writing it out, all these questions from my heart. So it feels like engaging.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful.
So that's all. That we have Vignesh talking with us for the past 1 hour. More than 1 hour, I guess. And he have shared a lot of insights about the industry, about his career, about the work which inspired him. So I guess this session is useful to everyone, and we'll see you later. So bye bye.
Bye guys.